All right. Hey, ProdigiousTrip here. I'm going to see if I can do a live video with my boy Chump, who's out in Colorado. I got my cousin Chuck here, and I'm going to try to see if I can get Chump on the TV. See if I can get this going. Can you hear me, Chump?
All right.
Okay. Yeah, you're like very delayed though, okay? So just so you know, you're out like 10 seconds delayed.
Here, let me go on. All right. I'm going to go on. Okay.
It's funny to hear it here and then see it there.
I'm going to go on ProdigiousTrip.
Well, I'm not doing mine live though, that's the thing.
See if I can have it in the background so I can see.
No, I was going to try and just do a normal video. So, yeah. So I just got back from Comic-Con, and so I wanted to talk about some stuff I got there, and my boy Chuck is here too. So, had a great time. This is really cool. So. Everything you say, buddy, you can hear on my TV that's going to come out through my video. This really doesn't. We really didn't think this through all the way. Trying to see if I could talk to him live, so this way everyone could see me talking to him. But it's not gonna. This isn't really working out too well. But actually, I kind of wanted to talk about handhelds because as Chuck came over, we were talking about some of the old school video games, and there's a lot of cool stuff that we have. I have like my old school Gameboy still. So this was one of the coolest things ever. I had this was my first gaming thing ever. Like I got this, and then I got like a Super Nintendo like maybe a year later or something. But this was my very first gaming system thing. It still works. I just haven't put batteries in it, but I don't have any cartridges for it. I do have cartridges for my Game Boy Advanced, but
I can't believe you didn't have an Atari. That's the thing.
Like I did have an Intellivision before this, so that was just to be clear, that was my mother's gaming console. Like I was never allowed to play it without her. She said this is for me because she got it. I think maybe even before I was born. Don't know. So yeah, and so like I could play it with her, but I could not play it by myself. And so when I was 7, or no, yeah, I finally got my Game Boy. That was the thing I was actually allowed to play on by myself. And of course, everything has evolved today in like the newest system, or not the newest one, but the oldest system was the 3DS from Nintendo. And I have like all my old Game Boy games I actually was able to download on here. But a lot of people, if they didn't have the 3DS or anything, they've come out with so many handhelds now that you can actually get like online that you can emulate anything on. And I have one that was like really cheap. This was like $10 on Amazon. I don't even know if you can get this on Amazon anymore. Yeah. And it has 500 games, but they're all like cheap knockoffs of like old Nintendo games. Yeah. Like Super Mario, but it's called like Super Bear or something or whatever. And Chuck, can you hand me that one? Yeah. Yeah, and this one is this one was the first one that I actually got that was the emulation. This one is called the Ambernick 350M. And hey, Chump, do you still have the 350P that I got you, or 351? Yeah, go see if you can get that real quick and show them. Yeah, and
yeah, the white one, yeah, the white little kind of thing.
Well, just try to grab it just so they can see it, because well, don't take the headset with you. Again, we could have done this way better, but I figure we try to get it going and show some other stuff. This is.
Yeah, I mean, we can always try it out, but yeah, I'll have to do that on another episode because I know where it is, but
Let's see if I can get Chump a little louder here.
My wife's in our bedroom is not really. You guys join me live, and you're wondering what.
His channel's live, mine isn't, but I mean it's okay.
find out what's going on. You just,
And so,
my channel's live, his channel.
This is actually like one of the best. Well, it was one of the best.
I'm so jealous that he went to Comic-Con.
The delay is so like I can hear him, and then when I see it here, it's just like it's so loud. So, yeah, I just got back from Comic-Con. It was so much fun. I got to meet the Nostalgia Critic. If you don't know who he is, he's on YouTube. He's hilarious. I love him. I was able to finally get an autograph. And he reviews movies and stuff, and he's the best. Again, I was trying to talk about some of these. The build quality for this is amazing. Ambernick knows how to make a really good handheld. The only problem is the SD cards that come with these. I never even thought about it, but even Chuck was telling me the other day, don't keep them. You might want to try to, use them that they come with. This one, I don't even think the SD card even works anymore. Yeah, it's called Made in Taiwan. That's all it's called. But some of these don't work anymore. I had the... Oh, that was loud. I had the RG... No, not the RG. This is the GPD Win XD, and this doesn't even work anymore. It was really crappy build quality, but it could emulate up to like N64 and almost PlayStation 2. I remember playing Dreamcast on this, and it was like perfect. But this was, again, about 3 years ago. So I don't know why it stopped working, but it had a really good screen, but it was kind of set up like a DS, like a Nintendo DS, but there's no bottom screen. If you wanted to play a DS game, you actually could, and it would split it up so you had each screen had, it was 2 on there. Not really fun, and it wasn't a touch screen or anything, but this is very, like, the fact that it's broken, I don't even care, because I'm just like, it's so cruddy. But you can see the difference, because this is my 3DS, and this is the GP Win, very close build, almost the same size, but the 3DS has obviously better clamshell and everything. This is just crap. But Ambernick has been... Clamshells are the, like the outer shell of they're the outer shell of the game console, or the gaming pad or whatever it is. Yeah, the plastic that it is very kind of yucky. But again, Ambernick's been making their handhelds like these with like made out of metal, and this is great. This is the RG350, and I actually have the RG405. Sorry, I have them all spread out over here so I can just get to them. And I have the RG405M, which is the metal version of this one. And this one can emulate up to about PlayStation 2, GameCube, and Wii.
Let me ask you something, Trip. Did you ever have a Power Ranger game on your Game Boy?
Yes, I did. I had the original Power Ranger, the movie game. I also had it on my Super Nintendo. And
okay. All right. Yeah.
I love Power Rangers, so I had to have the game. Love the show, and Chuck actually has the Wii U Mini. You want to show it?
Mini.
So there's Chuck, my boy.
So I just got this Mia Mini a couple of days ago. Came in on Thursday. I haven't had a chance to play around too much with it. When I was searching for a good handheld console, I wanted primarily something that would work for playing Game Boy Advance games, maybe up to PlayStation games. So I was just fiddling around with it just now, and I pulled up what was on my my stock SD card. Came with one branded as a TF SD card. But I pulled up Marvel vs. Capcom, and it looks beautiful on this. Let's see if I can get it a little further so you can see what it looks like.
Yeah.
So the quality of the video is pretty amazing. It's smooth. It lets you. The controls are great. So the sound, it comes out through the little hole here. The sound's not great. If you're going to be doing basic, small, moving around, gaming, if you want something that's portable, this thing is light. It's got not much hardware compared to the Ambernick. The one that I was just told that another good competitor would be this Ambernick. This one's made of metal. You can feel that this is a hefty difference in weight and size. The screen size, though, looks to be fairly identical. I mean, most of the black here is just the bezels or whatever they're called. But for the most part, over here. For the most part, the screen's pretty much identical from what it looks like, but this is much heavier, being metal. If you're looking for something a little more portable, I was looking for something with the PlayStation. The other things I tested on were the Game Boy Advance games, because I didn't get to play a whole lot of my Game Boy Advance games back when I was younger. So, as a console goes for just portability for some of the most basic systems that you can just put away into your pocket without it being hefty and dragging you down, this is a great console. It's the Mio Mini Plus. So as of right now, this being my first, I highly recommend it.
This is just some crappy version of just like nothing. This is like this isn't even like plastic. I don't know what this is, and it didn't even play like any kind of games. But it's about the same size as what he has, and it's not. It's not even like, again, just oh my goodness, it's so. Yeah,
similar look, but definitely completely different kind of quality.
I'm loving the way that these handhelds come out and stuff. So
one thing I've been looking for is a good console that could connect to a TV that maybe you could connect controllers to if you want to have a portable retro console you can play with friends. So I don't know if there's any out there. If you could think of any, why don't you write in the comments and you recommend it? I'll go back and check and see if there's any. I've been searching through videos, and there's so much videos out there now. So if you're just come across this and you've seen this video and you know of a good console that you can put down, like have your friends come together and play something like Twisted Metal, let us know, because I would go out and buy one of those if I knew what would be a good one for that. So I could maybe play on my hands, go plug it into an HDMI cable and play it on TV with friends. That is something that I would pay a good amount of money for, besides perhaps, a Steam Deck.
They've been doing stuff like that when they come out with some of these handhelds. They've been having some that actually have on the back or the top the HDMI port, so that you can actually just plug it right into your TV so that you can play it. And you can play with some friends and stuff. I wouldn't mind doing that too. And I know they come out with like the Super Nintendo Mini and the Nintendo Mini and some other old consoles. So it's like kind of pointless to try to get like something that emulates. But again, some of those other games don't actually have any of the actual games that we'd want to play. And some of these portable ones can play up to like GameCube. You can't even play GameCube games anymore. Unless you actually have a GameCube, they can't emulate any, or unless you get it on emulation, there's really no place to play some of these old GameCube games. Same thing with like, I think they did come out with a PlayStation 1 Mini or something like that, but there's a lot of games that unless you play them on emulation, you can't play them anywhere, which really sucks. And so, Chump's trying to ask me something. The handheld version of the
PlayStation. You just talked about PlayStation. What was the handheld version of the PlayStation?
The handheld, there was no handheld version of the PlayStation. They did have a the PS Vita, and then there was the PSP, they were portable. It was kind of like the Game Boy or whatever. They didn't have the same games on the PlayStation and on the PSP. I mean, they could have had some games similar to it, but not really, they don't have, some of the games that come out now, like, oh, you can play it on Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch. They didn't really have, like, those for, like, the portable, like, oh, you can play the exact same game on portable. There were always different ones. I also had, I forgot to have my old Game Boy case here. Had some old classic ones. Here's the SP. Love this thing. I had the Nintendo version of it, or the NES version of and then the Game Boy Micro. This will actually only play Game Boy Advance games. It will not play. It won't play any. It won't play any original Game Boy games.
Micro. I remember that.
Yeah.
So out of all the Game Boys, what was your favorite? Your console, Game Boy handheld, what was your absolute favorite out of all of them?
I'd have to just say the 3DS, just because you could play all those old games onto the 3DS, or on the 3DS. You could play all those old games.
The 3DS is Trip's favorite.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering.
They actually didn't make it so that you could play Game Boy Advance games on the 3DS. You could do it on the DS. You could actually play the actual the cartridge game of an advanced game on your DS. But the 3DS did not allow you to download old Game Boy Advance games. You could do Game Boy Color games, Game Boy original games, and again, they didn't come out with all of the games either for the Game Boy library. So if you want to ever play some of those games, you'd have to find them on emulation or some other place. So, but these handhelds that they keep coming out from China, especially Ambernick, like I'm loving these things. This has like the entire Game Boy library on here, and like the Game Boy Color library, the NES library, Super Nintendo. It has like, I mean, there's over like 2,000 something plus games on here, and I only put like I think like maybe 5 Nintendo DS games on here, but for the most part, like I love this thing. It's better than my Switch. Like I'm trying to download all the old stuff, but
Better than the Switch. I think a lot of people are going to be upset with that statement. Everybody ever run into says the Switch is the best console of all time.
yeah, I know. But the whole point of it is that, like, you know, I like to play something, you know, some of these old games on emulation.
I know a lot of people love the Switch.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I love my Switch, but they don't bring out some games that you can download old games onto.
They need to come out with. They need to bring out the ultimate Switch where you can play any backwards compatibility game all the way back to like the original Game Boys, everything. Like you unlock all the games in the history of Game Boy on that. That would be awesome. But they would never make that because then there'd be no reason to buy another, console. They have to make you want to buy one console and then another console because they only bring out so much content and so much backwards compatible. I can't even talk right now. For a handheld, you know what I'm saying, Trip? Like they can't make the ultimate one. Like even with the Xbox, the brand new one, I thought it was going to go backwards compatible all the way to the original Xbox, so we could play all the. But it's not right because of licensing and all that other jargon. Yeah, it'll never be the most best video game where you could play everything like Nintendo.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like emulation is the way to play some of this stuff.
All on one console. That would be amazing. I mean, if we could.
Yeah, I don't think they'll ever do it. So this.
Be about $20,000 for a console like that.
Well, I doubt that all the console, like any gaming like company would ever say like, "Hey, let's make one console together." It doesn't work that way. Sometimes they do get the licensing so that you could play. Like you can now play some old Nintendo 64 games. You can play them on the Xbox, like Perfect Dark and Jet Force Gemini, GoldenEye. That was
exactly. And GoldenEye.
Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely from 64. But
that was an OG of the N64.
I just again I'm really liking some of these emulation stuff though. I can hear him before he talks it on here.
They need to bring out the SSX Tricky. The original SSX.
Yes. Here.
They need to bring that out.
Chuck, you're out of frame if you want to get in on this, man.
Revamp it, renew it, or whatever. But that would be so awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I said, I have a whole mess of handhelds. I have all these here, but I only usually just bring like one with me. And I used to bring like the SP with me, but I'd have to change out the cartridge every time. And I'm like, so the this one, I think the system still works. It might need an update, but for the most part, I think it's just the memory card that stopped working. Because every time I turn it on, it will not load up any games. So this doesn't work anymore. The GPD one doesn't even just charge, so I don't even bother with it. So I'm just wondering if maybe some of these actually are just not meant to last. But my 3DS still works, and so does my old Game Boy, all this stuff. And then I think Chump's going to say something.
This is meant to last. This is from 1987. My Pet Monster. I'm talking about. You were talking about things that weren't meant to last. Toys in the 80s were meant to last. That's why, this is from 1987.
Oh my goodness.
I remember those.
I remember the cartoon.
Oh, yeah. Well, like I said, that,
Don't make things like they used to. They just don't make things like
no, they don't. And like I said, that's why they keep, like, coming out with all these random handheld stuff so that they can actually start playing some of these old games. But, oh, well, it's the only way we're going to be able to ever play some of them. Like I said, the Switch does have what's called, like, virtual consoles so that you can play some old games. But Nintendo's never going to just let you play every single game. And either they lost the licensing for it, or it's because they just want to hold off until the next console. But they did that with the Wii, or they started with the Wii, where you can play old games from virtual consoles, but you couldn't play all the games. You could play a lot of them, and every time they've gone up in their level of their systems, like they did the Wii U and now the Switch, it seems like their virtual console stuff has gone down. Like, they're not going to let you play as many games. Because before, you could actually buy those old games. Again, me, I'll buy them still if it's on the next system. I mean, I would love to do that. But now, for the Switch, you can only play it if you have the online expansion, if you pay for that every year. And it seems like, I think that's what Xbox is doing with their Game Pass, so that you could play games instead of having to buy them. So it seems like more or less like you're not going to be able to tangibly buy a game anymore. Because they might, I just read online about Best Buy getting rid of all their Blu-rays and DVDs and stuff. They're not going to sell them anymore. A lot of people are going to be mad about that.
That is a tragedy. They need to have that on the 10 o'clock news. I'm pissed about that. I'm sorry, excuse my language, but I'm infuriated about that. Because if you know me, discs are better than digital. I'm sorry to say it. Chuck, we can debate about this all you want to, buddy, but a disc is always going to have better sound, better visual, better experience. Discs are way better than digital. I'm sorry to say it, but it's the truth. And somebody had to tell it, and now I'm going to get shot.
They are better.
A whistleblower. Skynet's becoming self-aware. That's really exciting. Discs are better.
Well, I don't have a problem with discs.
Physical media rocks.
The only problem is with discs, like we were talking about it earlier, discs after about 10 years or 20 years, that plastic on it breaks.
Yeah.
It deteriorates over time.
Unfortunately, like there's even that, like we were discussing that there's a lot of DVDs that are deteriorating now. Not all of them, but over time, they are getting deteriorated.
Yeah. Also, too, most DVDs have not a button, but like when you put your disc into your DVD case, you push the thing in to release the disc, that silver sometimes actually breaks off.
Yeah.
And
not saying it's bad or good. There's benefits.
It's also, it can be easily scratched.
There are benefits to both.
Look at your Chump in here first and then on the TV.
Unfortunately, that's how things are.
Not every disc is going to break. It's just eventually it will. It's funny just hearing him talk. So it's not going to be every disc, but eventually they're just going to be obsolete, and everything's probably going to go to digital. I know they've been doing that with video games, so it's like, why not just, you could either buy the cartridge or disc, or just buy it online.
This one's from the 90s, bud. Okay.
I think this was a great idea to have him on there so everyone could see it. I just can't see Chuck though. There goes the. It's okay. Yeah, I should have had this there. There you go. So to have everybody in there, everybody on my thing.
Is that
But
good?
yeah, now I don't have to see Chump anymore either. It's great. No, this was the first time I've actually had like another person on my channel besides my son. I have, I've always talked about my cousin Chuck, who our very first thing about handhelds was we each had a Game Boy Color when we were kids, and we each got Pokemon Silver, and we played that game all day. Like I remember this day, like in my memory will live forever.
Core memory.
I remember just playing that game by itself all day. We didn't even like, because you can hook up the cables to each Game Boy and actually trade Pokemon. I don't remember trading Pokemon. I just remember sitting in bed playing it next to Chuck while he was playing his game. And then all of a sudden it was 10 o'clock at night and my dad walks. He goes, "You guys are still playing video games? Get your shoes on and we're going to walk around the block real quick." And I'm like, "Yes, sir." So then we walked around the block, came back in, and kept playing.
Story trip. I love that one. Every time you tell me that one, it's very funny.
Spent the entire day playing Pokemon Silver and listening to Weird Al's Running with Scissors on repeat.
Kid to us kids. I mean, I can tell you about my first sleepover. I had the Super Nintendo. My best friend had the Sega, and I never played Sega before until that day. And I played it for like 48 hours straight, like Trip said about the Game Boy. I played it, and it was awesome. I played Toe Jam and Earl. I played Golden Axe. What other? Earthworm Jam.
Oh, Earthworm Jam.
Fun.
That is one thing I missed about all the older systems, is that all the older systems, because they were so different from each other, the Super Nintendo and the Genesis, like you could tell they felt differently. Besides the controller, the graphics were just completely different systems in some ways. And unfortunately, you don't have that with modern systems. Pretty much all modern systems are identical, like the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox. They're pretty much the exact same games side by side now, exact image of the other, with a different controller. But I do miss those days back when you had such differences that you can't really compare a Game Boy handheld or Nintendo handheld to a PlayStation 1.
No, I could hear Jeremy and then I could hear Chuck, and I'm just like waiting for it to stop. So, because there's like, oh my gosh, like 5-second delay between each time you say something, Chump. So, I'm not trying to insult Jeremy. That's actually his nickname is Chump. I know we always called him Jeremy's Boas, but his nickname since high school was Chump, and so it's not an insult. I'm not trying to be mean, because nowadays you got to be like respectful of everybody. It was just a nickname.
Yeah.
So.
Pastor Mike gave me that nickname. Yep, and he gave you the nickname Trip. So.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So, Pastor Mike, if you're watching this,
please like and subscribe.
Support the channel, man.
You
Yeah.
don't want to be talked about anymore.
We never say his last name, so no one knows.
He's your almost your Mr. Feeney.
He is my Mr. Feeney.
How many times did I tell you? Leave me alone.
So, probably going to end this one. This was a fun video, just talking about handhelds and stuff and nostalgic stuff about everything or all video games and everything. So, I got my boy Chuck. I got Chump. And he's going to...
With special guest, Heavy Chase!
Classic.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get this sorted out.
We got to do this again.
Yeah, hopefully I'll get it started next time, so this way I can actually do the video better, or have you in maybe the corner or something. And like I said, hopefully everyone starts liking and subscribing, I can get more support on here, and I can get a better camera and better other stuff, so I can do some cooler things on here. But until then, I'm ProdigiousTrip, and this is Chuck.
Yeah, man.
Again,
Love Jeremy's Bowers. Love you, Bowers. Love you, Trips. Love you, families. And don't forget Chuck.
And, oh crap, I forgot to get Casey.
Yep, we forgot to pick up Casey. Sorry, buddy.
Sorry, Casey, I'll get you next time.
Yep, next time we'll pick you up. All right, guys. Peace out.